All right, so I've gone through, I've done a bunch of interesting things with Chat GPT in this example. I'm going to be showing you some of the basic things you need to think about when you start using Chat GPT to create copy. And I'm going to be showing you basically previous conversations I've had with Chat GPT so you can understand some of these basic principles. Now, if you want to be successful with AI, you have to understand garbage in equals garbage out. So let me show you what requirements Chat GPT needs from you in order to create the best copy possible. So, I started this off, I'm like, okay, Chat GPT, I'm going to call you Jarvis just for fun because why not make it more interesting? He said, of course, why not? I said, all right, now Jarvis, I'm going to teach you how to write better marketing copy. And it replied back and said, listen, I can't actually learn and get better at things over time. It's not like I improve. You can teach me anything. I can basically just do what I know how to do, which is kind of a big misconception. People talk about, oh, you need to train AI. And you're not really training the AI. I mean, unless you're actually building your own AI and you're feeding a data set and you're a computer scientist, then maybe you're training your AI. But you and I aren't going to be training Chat GPT. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have to learn how to be very specific with our communication with Chat GPT. So I said, okay, well, cool. Then let's establish some specific prompts I can use to create more specific outcomes with marketing. How can I enhance my ability to give you specific prompts in order to produce more effective output? Now, this is an interesting point I want to bring up to you guys. When you're working with AI and you're playing around, you're tinkering with it, you can just ask AI what it needs. You say, hey, I want to do this thing. What information do I need to give you? Or, hey, I want to do this. How can I use AI to make this happen? And like AI is its own user manual. Like it'll tell you how to do everything you need to do. So if you wanted to ask AI how you could do this, how to do one thing or that thing, just ask it and it'll probably give you some pointers. But here are some guidelines that ChatGPT spit back. These are extremely fundamental. If you want to create compelling copy with ChatGPT, which is what I'm going to be showing you how to do here, you have to follow these. Most people don't. Most people show up, they're like, write an ad for this, and it spits out some things. And they look at it and they're like, oh, this is garbage. If you want ChatGPT to actually create good stuff, you need to follow these principles. I'm just going to go through them. First, you got to clearly define your objective. If you haven't answered the 4 questions for what you're trying to do, the 4 questions from the bootcamp, you're not going to be able to tell AI what you want to have actually happen. You need to have a defined outcome. I want my reader to do this. I want to create this specific thing so that my reader will do this. You've got to define the outcome. Be specific and detailed. The more you can give AI, the more detailed you can give it, the more you can incorporate that. Most people don't feed it any research data. They don't feed it any specific details. And so that's why ChatGPT spits out a bunch of vague copy for them. You have to feed it specific stuff. And to the level of specificity that you feed ChatGPT is going to, that's going to determine how specific and valuable the copy is that it spits out. This is probably the most important one, though. This is the easiest one to massively speed up the quality of copy that you get out from ChatGPT is to use examples or templates. I'm going to show you an example of this in a little bit. But if you say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm trying to create a sales page. I want you to model this sales page, and you copy and paste and you give it an example of a successful sales page, it can actually model that way better. If you just tell it to, hey, generally create a sales page, it's going to create some generic empty stuff because you haven't given it any specific examples. But if you've done your research and you've identified some successful sales pages or some successful Facebook ads or whatever you're trying to create, and you can give that information to ChatGPT and say, use this as a template, it makes the whole process a lot better. And I'm going to show you an example of me doing this. I'm mentioning tone and style. A lot of you guys ask, hey, how do I get it to be professional and still funny and interesting? Tell ChatGPT what to do. Just say, hey, I want the tone to be a busy professional that is blah, 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 and interested in this, or write as if you are, and then give it like an actual specific tone. I'm going to show you an example of doing that here, but you can just tell it to mix in a tone. It'll get you mostly there, right? If you just actually tell it about tone. Most people don't. They say, hey, write this thing, but they don't say write it in the voice of this person or use this tone. The more detailed you can give instructions to ChatGPT, the better it can do. It's mindless. Sure, it's a mind. It can learn stuff, but at the end of the day, it just does what you tell it to do, right? It's just like all computing programs. It does what you tell it to do. So if you want it to go out and perform a task, you need to be pretty detailed about the boundaries and the information and the quality that you want to get, or else it's just going to kind of half do it and come back and you'll get frustrated. It's just like working with an employee or a person or a computer. You've got to give it clear instructions and give it the tone. The other thing you want to do, key phrases, bullet points are cool. Request revisions. You're going to go back and forth. There's going to be a revision process. You're like, hey, change this first sentence, change it something like this. It's interesting. You're a copywriter, but you're using ChatGPT as if it's your copywriter, like it's a copywriter on your team. So there's going to be a revision process. You're going to have to go back and forth with what it gives you until you reach something that you feel is actually going to create the objective that you want. So definitely don't be afraid to revise it. And then you're just going to experiment and play around with it. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. But these 7 points are pretty valuable. And I'm going to show you how I applied them in this example. So I said, excellent. I'm so nice to Jarvis, right? Here's the outline of a landing page I'd like to use as a model for another page I'm going to be writing. I pasted it in. This is basically the boring, simple text on my landing page for the 10 tips book that I have on my page, just to show you guys an example of what a landing page is. So I pasted it in there, and Chat GPT's like, okay, cool, here's some improvements, and they just like made it longer. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I want to model the original page as closely as possible. So, okay, here we go. Here's the original page. So then I said, all right, now Jarvis, I want to use the same format, but for a landing page for a free ebook on getting started as an options trader, as an example. And then here's an example of like when you're using Chat GPT, and like if you were working with a person, right? You say, hey, I want to write this. I want to create this thing. Instead of just telling it to go do it, I said, what do you need from me in order to make it as effective as possible? And it gave me all the information I needed to give it. It said, hey, give me a title of the book, give me a description of the book, key selling points, the target audience, what the CTA is, give me an author bio, give me any information on visual assets or branding and design preferences. So, okay, here we go. And I said, title of the ebook, I said, I want you to come up with a bunch of different variations, but that's up to you. Give a quick description of the ebook. I gave some key selling points, the target audience, the CTA, and a little bit on the author bio, right? This is a made-up example, so I couldn't feed it too much specific, but I tried to make my made-up example as specific as possible. You know, I talked about how it's a guidebook, the basics of stock options, how to create an account, best strategies for beginners based on different risk appetites, key selling points. Again, this is where you need to have some understanding of the product or market. If you don't understand why someone, like the main key selling points for a product, what the USP is for that thing, the unique selling proposition, you're going to have a hard time telling Chat GPT what to do. And if it doesn't know, and if you don't feed it good information, it's not going to spit anything good out. So I gave it some information. It's going to help them learn the basics quickly, avoid problems, and cause them to lose their entire portfolio, and get them ready to place the first trade in the first 24 hours. Just quick, made up stuff, target audience, young men working boring jobs, want to earn more money. Author bio, expert trader, ex-Wall Street, now living in Bali, super multi-millionaire, expat, whatever, right? Boom, it spits out a landing page. And it's not terrible, right? It uses the format that I gave it. Again, I gave it something to model. I didn't just tell it to create some general copy. I said, hey, look, model this landing page. And it spit out some pretty good stuff. This is the first little, it's got two sections. It's got like an above the fold section, and it's got a deeper section. But the copy isn't that bad. Options Trading 101, your fast track to financial freedom. I would probably play around with that title later, but it's not terrible. Unlock the secrets of stock options, learn the ins and outs, stock options, even if you start from scratch, blah, 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 master your options, proven strategies for every risk appetite, discover the best strategies. The whole thing is pretty standard. Like this, if I saw a copywriting student write this, I'd say, hey, it's not bad. Maybe spice it up a little bit, change this, but it's not terrible. This is much better than your average beginner copy. And it's because I gave it specific information, and Chat GPT can write at a certain level. So if you can't write that good, as long as you know what to tell Chat GPT to do, you can create fairly effective copy. This would work if it was in front of the right people. And then we've got, more information. Attention, young men eager to break free from boring jobs and earn more money. You can see very clearly, he's using these little elements that Andrew gave him. If you give ChatGPT little elements, it'll use it. And then it's got some more stuff, whatever, landing page, send me the ebook, whatever. And I said, okay, cool. And I said, now give me some suggestions for branding and design of this guide based on the understanding you have of this target market offer. If you need more information to answer as accurately as possible, let me know. So then it said, okay, look, here's the brand identity. Here's some color palettes you could try. Here's some typography. Again, if you just assuming I was actually going to build this landing page, now it's kind of told me where to start. Like, okay, use this type of color, use these type of images. It's given me all the input that I need as a designer to then go and turn around and use a template and create this thing. Talk about what I want to think about when it comes to cover design, landing page layout, testimonials, et cetera, all that stuff. So you can play around with that. Like you can create a pretty decent copy and have everything you need to build a pretty good, effective landing page without a whole lot of difficulty. This spun up really quickly. Right now I had to go ahead and create I said, hey, now create 3 different IG reels on ads to direct traffic to this page that are designed to dramatically catch the attention of the viewer and still a pressing question in their mind or the mind of the reader. They can only answer by clicking the link, viewing the landing page. It spit out some IG reel ideas. They're okay. I probably would workshop them a little bit better. And I did that. I said, in order to enhance the curiosity, teach a specific thing they're going to learn in the ebook, and it did that. I went through this revision process with this. Now, I want to show you how I enhanced the actual landing page itself, though. I went on and I said, okay, let's make a few modifications to the generated option page for the option trading guide. I want to change the tone. The author, and I gave it the author, more information about the author. Create this fake guru guy. The author is a flashy, in-your-face, bold trader. Create a version landing page that matches that tone. So you can see how it changed the tone here. Make millions with options trading, no BS. It spit out some stuff. It's interesting here. It used one of the old bullet points from the other thing, so I had to fix that later, but it changed the whole tone here. Send me the damn guide right there. Yo, are you ready to dominate the market? Again, it changed the tone. There's still some things you need to fine tune, but you can tell it, hey, write like this, use this type of energy, and it'll mix it in pretty effectively. The CTA is different, it changes. And then I say I use a different bullet point here and it changes to something that matches the thing. Again, it's not that hard. You can use Chat GPT to create pretty compelling copy as long as you take the time to give it the information you need. Remember the 7 points for feeding good copy to Chat GPT. Use these points up here. Clearly define your objective, be specific, use examples or templates. Using examples and templates, giving ChatGPT an example is one of the fastest ways to do this. Being as detailed as possible with your target market, your avatar, etc. I'm going to show you some ways to kind of use AI to create that a little bit better or to mine that data a little bit better. But feeding it specific information, asking ChatGPT, hey, I'm going to be creating a landing page. What do you need me to give you so it's as effective as possible? Hey, I'm creating a IG ad. What information do I need to give you so it can be as effective as possible in my market? And then just give it the information it asks for. ChatGPT knows how you can use it better than you probably know how to use ChatGPT. Just ask it what you need to know. But this is a quick example of how you can create pretty compelling copy using a few prompts and a template so that you can create stuff. And then obviously, then on top of that, you can then take it as an expert copywriter and tweak a few things, enhance this a little bit, and you can get significantly quicker results than if you just say, yo, write me a landing page. This will help you generate faster, compelling copy to start with as your first draft using ChatGPT. So dive in, use this information, give it the information it needs, and it'll give you the work that you need.